My name is Dylan Ayler. I don't know if you think it's cool that I live in an RV, right on. If not, then that's also okay.
I'm Jake Dillard.
How we came to live in a Winnebago is we had both lived in the same house with some of our friends last year, and at the end of the year, there were 7 of us living there, and somehow the city found out, and there were only supposed to be 3 of us. So 2 of us were going to China for the summer, and then one of us moved out. I don't know. So then the next year we had planned on living there again, but we couldn't all have those people there. So Jake had suggested as a joke to live in his car, and I was like, okay, what if I find a van on Craigslist? Like, would you live in it? And he was like, yeah, totally. And so then I looked on Craigslist like that day and then found a van for like $600. And the next day we went and bought it. And then I went to China for 3 months, like 2 days later, and came back, and Jake was living in the van.
While Dylan was in China, I stayed at the house we were in last year for most of the rest of the summer. Spent June and July at the house, but once my lease there was up, the van was all ready, and I just moved my stuff out of the house. I took some stuff back home and loaded up the van a little bit, and then I just drove away. And that was for August, and so I spent about 3 weeks in August without Dylan there.
And then we went to one of our friends' weddings in Ames, and we drove past this, and Jake was like, oh, let's stop and see how much it is, because we saw a for sale sign on it. And we pulled in, and it said $1,500, and there was a guy sleeping in it, and we knocked on it, and I was just like, hey, man, I'll give you $1,000 for this tomorrow. And he said, okay.
Yeah, Dylan made the offer. The guy took it, and we drove it to the wedding. We actually showed up a couple minutes late for the wedding, and we were ushers for it. And showed up a little late and did that, and the next day we drove back to Iowa City with the Winnebago. Sold the van a few weeks later, and with the Winnebago, parking has been more complicated, just because it's bigger. Thankfully, it's only 17 feet long.
It's just, driving the van was just easy. It's like a modern car, but this is like a 1969, like, massive vehicle, and so with the power brakes and no power brakes, no power steering, it's a lot more difficult to like parallel park and find like big enough spots to park it. Now we've found College Green where we don't have to move every day, which is great. Transitioning from a normal apartment to living in here, the biggest issue for me was not being able to cook my own food. There's no electricity, no running water.
Well, we've got that. We have electricity that comes from that car jumper in the bathroom.
Well, I've never used it.
Yeah, so if you want, yeah, we usually just make sure our phones are charged, but I have a little mobile jump starter for the Winnebago, and it also has some electricity, some plugins that you can charge computers or phones with.
Yeah, in the winter, slept in like big jackets and multiple layers of pants and socks. Like, but now it's nice enough out to where I have a 20-degree sleeping bag and I can sleep in my underwear in it and totally fine. It's great. I go to the rec and work out, and then every now and then I'll just, after I work out, take a shower, and I'm set for the next few days. Or on weekends, we usually spend a lot of time at friends' houses, and we can just shower there. They're cool with it. And I usually go to work in the mornings or go to class, and so I'll just show up a little bit early and brush my teeth, comb my hair, or whatever needs to be done.
It's always kind of fun to be like, I always wake up with bad bedhead, so I'll walk through town with a funny hairdo and walk up to a sink in like a university restroom or something, and I'll just be wetting my hair down and combing it and brushing my teeth in a public restroom, and gotten some weird looks.
So response-wise, today I even was brushing my teeth at work, and the girl that works after me walked in and was like, why are you brushing your teeth here? And I was just like, oh, well, I live in an RV and I don't have running water. And she was like, wait, do you live in that RV that's always parked by College Green? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, my friends and I walk by it all of the time and, like, wonder if anybody actually lives there. Or a few nights ago, I was laying in bed, and it was probably like 1 a.m, and some people were kind of yelling outside, and I heard them say, like, oh, wow, like, look at that RV. Like, do people live in that? Like, that's crazy. And you hear that a lot, like, sleeping and, like, as you're laying down at night, people walk by and we'll laugh about it. Or if you get out in the morning, like people will like kind of give you weird looks. A few days ago, somebody like threw a frisbee and it hit it, and I jokingly like started yelling out the window, and the guy was pretty freaked out. So we each spent $500 to buy this. So I would say that's a pretty average amount of like 1 month's rent for most people in Iowa City. So it's like we paid 1 month's rent, and then the only excess fees are like, I don't know, maybe put like $40 in gas a month in it, if that anymore, because we never drive it anywhere. We split like the $40 for insurance a month, so we each pay $20. I think there's been like a couple times where something has gone wrong with it that we needed to get fixed, and we had to drop a couple hundred each. But other than that, I mean, not paying rent is great.
Yeah, we've been ticketed twice, so in total that's added to $30 that we split, so we paid $15 in tickets each. Some people thought that we were just kind of doing it to get some kind of attention or some kind of, which is obviously sort of sounds kind of funny when we're doing an interview. But yeah, I don't know, a lot of people just assumed we were just putting on an act so people would like, I don't know, pay attention to us, or thought we were trying to like have some simple guy image kind of thing. And while it doesn't sound like it was a huge part of the beginning story, it's always been a big influence on me, how much money I owe for going to school. So finances have always been a really upfront thing. It's never purely been anything. It's always been a conglomerate of we're just doing it to do it. It would be fun.
My mom, at the beginning, when we moved into a van, was like, "This is stupid. Like, I'll help you pay rent." And I'm like, "No, that's fine. I'll just do this." And then when I moved into an RV, she was moderately happier about it. I don't know why. I didn't really change anything.
Yeah, I basically won't tell any. The only people who know about it are people, if the conversation comes about naturally, where it would make sense that I tell someone. And that's, a lot of people aren't that. And so my employees and stuff don't know. Sometimes just weird to explain to people all the reasons why.
My personal statement is I really could care less what people think about me. So
every now and then I just realize what a weird year it's been. But no, I think it's I don't think maybe it's not as much as people might think it is.
Yeah, for me, sometimes I'm just like, laying in bed at night and I just start laughing. Like, I live in an RV. Like, I don't have running water. I don't have electricity. Like, I think it's cool. I mean, like, all of our friends think it's cool. Like, nobody thinks we're...
Not all of them. Some of them think
some people are like, that's stupid. But then I'm like, well, you're paying $500 a month to live. I think that's stupid.